Yes, ma'am, it's working. So, one please, 1 minute.
Working. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Who is about that? DLP. Yeah, yeah.
Nurul, let us start. Nurul,
Hello.
Nurul, हाँ,
Okay.
Dr. Patel, you start. Dr. Patel. Patel, sir. Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel.
Hello.
Patel, sir. Start.
द्विवेदी सर
यस सर
You start.
सर
Meeting शुरू हो गई।
आपकी आपकी आवाज आ रही है सर पटेल सर आपकी आवाज आ रही है
आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ आवाज आ रही है
तो मैं तो बोल रहा
अब
हूँ।
सर का कहना है स्टार्ट कीजिए
द्विवेदी सर
हाँ बोलिए बोलिए मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है
हैं?
मेरी आवाज
भैया
आपकी आवाज आ रही है सर
आ रही है सर, आपकी भी आ रही है, द्विवेदी सर की आवाज आ रही है।
आ रही है, सबकी आ रही है भाई।
नहीं आवाज आ रही है सर पटेल सर
आ रही है, आवाज आ रही है।
मोबाइल
बोलिए, शुरू करिए।
पूरा पूरा बंद मत करो हैं? आवाज कहाँ रहे हैं?
आ रही है ना आवाज?
हेलो
हाँ आ रही है सर आवाज आपकी
द्विवेदी सर
हाँ बोलिए बोलिए
द्विवेदी सर
हाँ बोलिए
नहीं आ रहा है लेकिन वहाँ से करना चाहिए ना। द्विवेदी सर
हाँ बोलिए 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 सर आवाज आपकी आ रही है आप एकदम निश्चिंत रहिए आपके ने कॉल किया था वो उठाए नहीं आवाज आ रही है आपकी
आनो भद्राः क्रतवो यन्तु विश्वतो अदब्धासो अपरितास उद्भिदः देवानो यथा तद्मिद्रिधे आसन्न प्रायुवो रक्षितारो दिवे दिवे let noble thoughts me from all the directions. Delighted to welcome you all. It is matter of great pleasure that 1 week national faculty development program on enhancing teaching and learning skills through acquisition of English language from 13th to 18th September 2021 organized by the Internal Quality Assessment Cell IQAC and the Department of English Government DSV Sanskrit College Raipur. The college was established on September 1955. The college is the one recognized research center for PhD and DLit in traditional and modern Sanskrit. Apart from this, college has recognized research supervisor in English. The college has a developed library where there are many rare books and more than thousands manuscripts. A research journal named Medha is published by the college. The college was accredited by NEC in year 2017 and the college has been awarded 2.65 B grade by them. I invite the coordinator IQSC, organizing secretary and head Department of English, Dr. Rajiv Tiwari sir, to welcome speech and the theme of the PhD, FDP. Sorry.
Good afternoon to one and all. Respected chief guest and the keynote speaker of this National Faculty Development Program on enhancing teaching and learning skills to acquisition of English language, CBTS research, a prolific English and a retired IAS officer. Our pattern and driving force behind this program, Dr. Srimati Radha Pandey Madam, our principal, Government DSV Sanskrit College Raipur, all the learned teaching fraternity, our invited guests, our near and dear scholars, and students who have joined from different corners of the country and abroad. My purpose of the college is teaching and non-teaching staff. All the members of the technical team who made all efforts to make this program possible. On the behalf of the college, IQAC, Department of English, and on behalf of myself, I accord a real welcome to one and all. आप सभी का स्वागत है. It is a known fact that India has won its freedom and has come through the knowledge of English language. Our great and learned social reformers and freedom fighters, from Raja Ram Mohan Rai to Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and others, have used English language to communicate and achieve their purposes. Even today, English language is bearing that vernacular load, and therefore its knowledge is significant for teaching and learning in all the subjects. Vernacular load refers to the latest knowledge available in any chosen fields of learning. Most of the researchers in the field of knowledge of different fields are conducted in English language, or its resources are available in English language. अंग्रेजी भाषा के आधुनिक ज्ञान के क्षेत्र में भार क्षमता सर्वाधिक है. It is for all these reasons that great stress is made to enhance the teaching and learning skills through the acquisition of English language. The next year teams that have visited various colleges have also recommended competence in English language for all teachers and students. This SBC is a humble effort in this direction. नेक्डा द्वारा भी अंग्रेजी भाषा के ज्ञान पर अत्यधिक जोर दिया जा रहा है. All this is the need of such program. The reason is very simple. English language is a linked language. Now the question arises, what makes English to obtain this position? As we all know, there are certain factors that make a language a world language, or an international language, or serve as a linking language. Some of them are the number of native speakers of the language. In this criteria, we find that the total number of speakers, so far as the number is concerned, is Chinese is number one. Hindi in its Hindustani form holds the second position, and English is in the third position so far as the speakers are concerned. The native speaker. The geographical spread of the language is second criteria. It is number one in this field, as it is the native language or mother tongue of many countries across the world and is used as a second in many other countries. The political and economic power of the native speaker is another important factor. English is number one language in this respect, as it is the mother tongue of many countries that are considered world power, like America, Great Britain, Australia, Canada, and so on. It is used in the United Nations and in various funding agencies like World Bank and others. Next criteria we have already seen, the vernacular load that English bears is maximum. भाषा भाषियों की दृष्टि से, भौगोलिक विस्तार की दृष्टि से, आर्थिक एवं राजनीतिक सत्ता की दृष्टि से अंग्रेजी भाषा विश्व की सर्वाधिक उपयोग की जाने वाली भाषा है. It is gratifying to note that this activity has got tremendous response from all quarters, and the registration number has crossed 350. To the rest of my knowledge, our college is the first college in the entire state whose English department is organizing such a national activity to enhance the language capacity of teachers and learners, especially those who doesn't belong to the English department. This effort is time because it is not limited to any particular department of teaching and higher studies. It not only includes teachers but also learners of different languages like Hindi, English, and Sanskrit. For the convenience of the participants, the talk of the subject expert will be in a bilingual mode, Hindi और अंग्रेजी. यह एफडीसी दोनों भाषाओं में हमारे एक्सपर्ट आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करेंगे अपने As in the information given in the flyer of the program, this national FDC is especially designed for faculty members to overcome the hurdles they face due to lack of skill in English language. It prevents them from making a better use of scholarly resources available in online sources and elsewhere. both. They are experts in their own subject. Most of the online resources are free. So one can expect to realize and make through Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's speech of a country where knowledge is free, is the knowledge of English language. This entity, as you all know, is of 6 days duration. Today is the inaugural session. The purpose of the first day has been designed to provide the foundation. Apart from this, there will be 5 more deliberations between 18th of September to enlighten our participants. The role of the master of ceremony of the program and the charge of institution to have the school every day in the 6-day program has been given to the members of the department of the college. They are all PhDs in Sanskrit. It shows that they are very learned persons. मेरे कार्यक्रम का संचालन संयोजन हमारे संस्कृत के विद्वान प्राध्यापकों सहायक प्राध्यापकों को किया जाएगा. Let me tell you that this is our maiden attempt on online platform. We have made sincere efforts for smooth conduction of this program. If any technical problem arises, I apologize in anticipation. ऑनलाइन माध्यम से ये हमारा प्रथम प्रयास है. इसके आयोजन में यदि कोई कमी आप लोग महसूस करते हैं तो मैं उसके लिए उस अनुमानित असुविधा के लिए क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ. I hope you will all gain a lot from this program. Thank you.
थैंक यू सर. इसके बाद मैं शिक्षक एवं संस्कृत महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य जिनके मार्गदर्शन में यह कार्यक्रम संचालित हो रहा है, तो मैं निवेदन करता हूं कि उद्बोधन के रूप में 2 शब्द कहें महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य डॉक्टर पांडे मैडम.
Good afternoon, all of you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's inaugural day of 1 week National Faculty Development Program on enhancing teaching and learning skills through acquisition of 13 to 18 September 2021, organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and the Department of English, Government Dudhadhari, Sri Vaishnav Sanskrit College, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. I would like to take this opportunity to extend welcome to Sri B.K. Esre, the most renowned retired IAS, Chhattisgarh, Sri S.K. Sagir Ali, Department of English, Midnapur College, West Bengal, Dr. Prashant S. Adarsh Mahavidyalaya, Maharashtra, Dr. Vaibhav Sabnis, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Memorial College of Law, Dhule, Maharashtra, Dr. Vikas Panchakshari, Government ALNPG College, Bemekara, Chhattisgarh, Dr. Tapas Mukherjee, Government College, Bori, Durg, Dr. G. Ghanshyam, OSP, Directorate of Higher Education, respected professors and all the participants. Our guest will make powerful contribution towards connecting to participants to strive success and achievement in this workshop. Also, let us appreciate the great effort of all the members who are being hard to contribute in this workshop. In workshop, there will be the participants can ask the question and discuss our guests. In the last day of workshop, feedback form will be filled by participants who will attend all sessions of workshop. They will get a e-certificate. English is one of the languages known by many, with about 20% of the global population speaking. Why English is important? And international common term is the language of academia. It gives you access to a wealth of written medium, online and printed. English is useful for international travel. It is essential for international business. Learning English will increasing your chance to get a job, participate in discussions, and improve your networking skills. English helps you encouraging your educational opportunities. Language acquisition, it is the process by which human acquire the capacity to and comprehended language. In other words, in the ability to be aware of language and to understand it, as well as produce and use words and sentences to communicate. The language acquisition process and level will help teachers tailor instruction to meet the needs of the diverse group of learners. The student will benefit from everything teachers do to support the development of their language skill while teaching them grade level content. The purpose of this 1 week faculty development program touches the various aspects to enhance quality of the participants to exchange important information regarding the teaching, learning, research skill, ICT, enable and learning, etc. It gives opportunity to more and more, gives wide platform to listen and discuss the topic and share their problem with our eminent speakers. I hope this program motivate to students, teachers, and other participants who can start a story of success in the field of English. I wish you the program of success. Thank you.
धन्यवाद महोदय. I invite to Dr. Digvijay Kumar Dwivedi, Head of Political Science, for introduction to the keynote speaker, respectable Sri V.K.S. Ray sir.
Am I audible? Am I
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible. Continue.
It's a great day in the history of Government Sanskrit College, Raipur, for organizing a program in English. Why I am saying this? Because it's a pure traditional Sanskrit college in entire Chhattisgarh. On this auspicious occasion, I welcome our distinguished chief guest, B.K.S. Ray sir. B.K.S. Ray, a face known to all, not only in MP and Chhattisgarh, where he worked as an IAS officer, and from literature side, famous in entire world. Ray has two facets. First, as an administrator, and second, as a prominent literary figure in India. He handled many challenging assignments. He is very upright, hardworking, and known for completing his work very meticulously. Before starting his literary voice, I just want to quote him. My love for literature gave me strength to understand human beings and their sufferings. And in administration, I used my intellectual corruption and injustice. His writings are very much influenced by writings of D.H. Lawrence, Russell, T.S. Eliot, Page, Pablo Neruda, George Well. Ray has written 37 books, which include 5 novels, 7 short stories, 19 volumes of poetry, and 3 volumes of essay on contemporary affairs, and he also written a drama. He is a regular columnist on national and international affairs in a well-known English daily of Chhattisgarh, He also writes in Hindi for Daily Navbharat. It is quite difficult to cover all his works in a very short span of time. But here I am mentioning some of his prominent works in poetry: Meaning of a Midnight, Terror Must Die, When Tears Meet Tears, Study Never Dies. In novels, he has written, I have already mentioned that he has written 5 novels. The first novel was The Revolutionary. It is based on Naxalism. When he was a Home Secretary and Naxalism was at its peak, he handled very aptly. Second one is The Turmoil, highlighting the importance of family love and bonding, as well as disastrous consequences of trust deficit in a marital relationship. Now, this problem is a very relevant novel because this problem has, this is a great problem nowadays. Third one is Attraction, a romantic novel, a love story of Sanjay and Shalini. Drama, he has written one drama, that is The Mysterious Guest. So, due to paucity of time to summarize all his achievements, especially in the field of English literature, personally, we are all here to hear our guest. So without wasting my time, we are honored to have such an outstanding personality as the keynote speaker of our program. Without wasting the time, I am handing over to my mic to Patel sir. Over to Patel sir.
Thank you. It is our pride that Sri B.K.S. Ray, retired IS poet and literary writer, is our chief guest and keynote speaker. So I invite him for keynote address.
Hello.
Is sir audible?
Am I able to? Are you able to
Yes, sir.
listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, there are some technical snack, but we will work on that. Thank you very much for giving me a very encouraging introduction to me. I'm extremely thankful to the Sanskrit College, Raipur, for
Namaskar, sir.
giving this opportunity to deliver my keynote address. Dear friends, right from the beginning, I extend my warm greetings to all of you. And the topic that has been given to me is English teaching and learning skills through acquisition of English language. Very interesting subject, stimulating subject, a great subject for the contemporary world. This topic is very important, relevant for the contemporary world in the context of English as a global language. English is a global language with a big canvas. I studied England also, and there I developed a lot of love for the English language. And here I would like to request all my friends, students, and other personalities that how to develop the English language and how to make the English language attractive and how more and more people can read the English language. English is of significance and one who teaches English must be knowledgeable in the language, both oral and written. In the 21st century, English is a global language to promote relations and connectivities across the globe. मैं आपको ये कहना चाहूंगा कि अंग्रेजी का इतना धूम मचा है कई देशों में. मैं रशिया भी गया हूँ, चाइना भी गया हूँ, वर्ल्ड का 50 कंट्री में घूमा है. वहां भी अंग्रेजी के लिए एक अद्भुत आकर्षण है. जब वर्ल्ड बुक फेयर हुआ था दिल्ली में, मैं चाइना के मंडप में गया. मैंने काफी चाइनीज स्टूडेंट्स को वहां देखा. मैंने कहा आप लोग व्हाई हैव यू कम हियर एंड व्हाट इज द स्टेटस ऑफ द इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज इन द कंट्री. तो उन्होंने कहा कि सर इंग्लिश इज मेकिंग वेव्स इन चाइना because it's a global language. So English has its own strength as a global language. We must try to understand English, speak in English, improve our writing power in English. This should be a matter of single-minded devotion. Teaching and learning in English calls for a good command over the English language. Teaching and learning skills in essay writing. मैं essay writing पर बहुत महत्व देता हूँ, क्योंकि the more you write essays, the better is the command over the English language. It promotes a thought process, a dynamic thought process. The more you write, the better is the comprehension. Essay writing, then usage of the English words for proper expressions. We know many words in English. We read English dictionary, we read consult English thesaurus. But which can be the appropriate word for the expression? This you have to take into account, because English is a very dicey language. Slight mistake can land you in trouble. For example, I'll give an example. When I was a member of the PSC, Public Service Commission, I was asking a candidate, what is the difference if I say, there is a telegram from the principal that 100 students have passed away. What do you mean by that? He actually wanted to point out 100 students have passed out. But there is a difference between pass away and pass out. Passing away means dying. मर गए. Pass out मतलब they come out successful. So very, very dicey language. So you must use the English language very carefully, its grammar, what is the appropriate expression, how to use it, and that you can do not only by consulting dictionary and thesaurus, also for a lot of writing practice. The more you write, the better your comprehension. Communication skills in English. This have come across many boys and girls. They understand, but they can't communicate. When you go to before an interview board, you have to communicate. If your expression is poor, if your communication is poor, if you are not in a position to say what you want to say, then it can be can lead to disastrous consequences. Communication skills you have to improve. For that, teachers must communicate with each other in English. The more you communicate, the better. Because communication nowadays, communication is very, very important aspect of global knowledge. Wherever you
Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
Sir, unmute.
Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Your voice is not there. Unmute yourself, sir.
सर आपका माइक है.
अभी सुनाई दिया?
Now it's okay. Yes, sir.
हाँ सर, हाँ सर.
Okay. What I'm telling you, that have more in seminars and symposiums, discussions relating to topics that has some relations with the English language. The more you discuss, the more you debate, the more you analyze, the better is your grip of the English language. Then I will request all of you to go through English newspapers and periodicals. In Chhattisgarh, I find going through English papers, going through English periodicals is not a very rare, it is a rare practice. So that is very disturbing. read the English paper, standard English paper like Times of India, the Indian Express, Hindustan Times. That can also contribute to the English language, that contributes to your linguistic strength. Another advice to you is to listen to English news channels. I look at the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, almost every day. Every day. So then you have a better command over the English language, you understand it better, and the linguistic skills also improve. So watching the news channels, reading newspapers, reading English periodicals can contribute knowledge. Then another thing very important that Professor Tiwari came to my house the other day. He was telling me about the importance of translation. Actually, nowadays, Hindi to English and English to Hindi translation should be there. Suppose I write something in English and somebody doesn't know English proper. But if you can translate it into Hindi, he will understand it. So translation work is very important for the promotion of the English language. Reading, writing, and analysis. Three buzzwords. Reading, writing, and analysis. Read a book, write on the book, and analyze the book. More you analyze, the more dynamic is your thought process. This is very important if you want to achieve quality skills in English language. I have just now written a book, drama, An Unforgettable Teacher, that will be published next year. That relates to how that story relates to overcoming the fear for the English language. In Chhattisgarh, I have come across many students had a fear for the English language. And in the high school examinations, I have seen English and mathematics two nightmare subjects. How to overcome fear for the English language? My advice to all of you, especially students, they love the English language. If you love the English language will love you. Once you master a language, sky is the limit. So the magic advice is that love the English language. Initial stage, you may be having bumpy rides. You may have a lot of fear also. So the more you study the English language, the more you study books, the more you study periodicals, the more you write, the more you analyze, the more you exchange your thoughts, the better it is English language. So overcome the fear for English language. This is very, very essential. Because if you develop a fear for the English language, you can't grow. Because English is the international. Give an example. How English is. I had been to Russia, Moscow, in 2018. So that time Russia was having international soccer tournament. So near the Kremlin, a group of journalists came to meet China. They were asking that whether about our views about football in China. I was one of the tourists, others could speak in English. So they were feeling helpless. They pointed out that he can speak. I spoke to them, I convinced them that China is yet to rise in the world of football. So there is international closeness possible through the English language. Then I will tell you another thing, that love for the English language has to be generated. More and more books have to be read. Discussions have to take place. And don't hesitate to visit a library where you come across a lot of English books. The more writing the books of eminent writers like English T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, D.H. Lawrence,
person, Mr. S.K. Sagir Ali. Mr. Education. But
There's some problem with your
relationship
internet, I think. Suddenly, madam, you are able to listen
Only
properly.
post-colonialism and the religion.
Problem in your internet connection, Kadami. Yes, we are not getting you. मैडम कुछ नेट पे प्रॉब्लम है, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Sir, Mr. Sagir Ali is an assistant professor
अब ठीक हुआ, वो पहला वाला बंद कर दीजिए.
West Bengal, India. He has edited a book, Literary Theory, Textual Application, with Atlantic Publishers, and another book, The Making of Literary Theory, is due in November 2020 with Routledge, India. His research focuses upon cultural studies and European Muslim immigration in the post-1945 period, particularly of Britain. It includes the relationship between post-colonialism and Islam, theoretical perspectives on post-colonialism and Islam, the position of religion, violence, and human rights in British Muslim fictions, monograph, community, identity, and resistance in selected British Muslim fictions, and edited volume entitled First, The Making of Literary Theory, and the second is Religion in South Asian Fiction. Literary Theory Textual Application has been published from the House of Atlantic Publishers, New Delhi. The Journal of Post-Colonial Writing under the House of Taylor and Francis has published one of his pieces, Islam and Gender, Major Issues and Debate. Not only that, and there is much more. Anyways, welcome, Mr. Sagir Ali. We are happy to greet you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the participants and especially Principal Sir of this government college. Principal Sir और जो हमारे अतिथि हैं उनको भी बहुत बहुत सर नमस्कार सर और भी सारे जितने गेस्ट हैं मैं सबका तहे दिल से शुभकामनाएं करता हूँ. Without much ado, I would like to start my talk. So first of all, I hope you have seen my abstract. So I'm starting from that point. See, English language education in India is vast and complex. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a minute. I request all the participants, and if possible, switch off your camera also so that we can see sir clearly.
Yeah,
I request all the participants to mute your. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So, research both in school and higher education during the current and last decades reflects the felt realities and the idealism and warrants addressing the need of new millennium. There is a call for shift to communication-oriented process like communicative approaches and the task-based language, particularly at the task-based language teaching, particularly at the graduation level, for meeting the demands of higher education and job market. Here, so research also brings out the constraints in English materials that lead to varied disparities in the delivery of English language in the classroom. Okay, so English language education in India is an impressively large and highly complex, and it's a phenomena that endows with major strength along with equally large failures and limitations. Yeah. So this complex situation can be traced in research themes, findings, and policy statements during the last 5 decades, as schools have attempted to find empirical evidences in the way English language from a colonial legacy to the prominence that has gained today is another development. Clear? So, besides language policy and the medium of instruction that I have mentioned, so the earlier surveys of research in education in India, especially by NCERT, they revealed the trends for further research and action. And one of the 6 research surveys conducted so far, especially by NCERT, and one 6 by Devaki, DEVAKI. Their survey contained a separate section for language education and language learning research. And other surveys saw the language education research subsumed in curriculum, materials, and methodology research. A closer look, if I take a very closer look at the survey, that will inform us that not much research was available in Indian languages education, while English language teaching learning research was well documented. Okay, so all the surveys in their analysis brought to the notice that language education in general and English language in particular, could not meet the system-related demands such as expansion, provisions, and quality dimensions. And learner-related, I mean the individualized learning issues. These issues are there. So, the demand for English language and English medium was well traced in the researches 3 decades ago. Clear? Language policy, developments of materials, and individual skills were also explored and exposed. Most of the observations of this research, or you can call the reflection, are in consonance, are in parallel or consonance with the inference of the previous surveys and have implications for policy and curriculum planning and implementation. So these are the different issues. Now, what I am saying is that the language policy and the role of English language in education. See, the National Commission on Education, I mean, probably 1964 to 1966, they described English as a library language, quote unquote, library language. and a language of higher education. This library language over the period of 6 decades has become the language of popular demand in school education and the language of higher education. Clear? Now, another NPE, I mean the National Policy on Education. After that, I can't recollect the year, probably after the 1980s or 1984. They emphasize the principles of mother tongue based principles of mother tongue based multilingualism, whereas the 4 national curriculum framework school education brought out in the years in these years from 1970 to 2000 and towards 2005, they lay emphasis on the contextualization of English language teaching, and that suit to India's diverse multilingual characteristics. This is the most important thing, multilingualism. So the changing role of English in the social political spheres is reflected in the curriculum, planning also, and also in implementation. Okay. So the introduction of English language in school, which was earlier planned as a 3rd language to be introduced in grade 5 or 6 and even in 8, as shown by NRT, is now being done from grade 1 in almost all the states. These are the data I have collected from the books by NCERT. So it has become the common second language across the country. So the NCA, National Curriculum Framework, probably in 2005, NCERT observed in position on teaching of English in a socio-political situation that the introduction of English is no longer an academic question. It's not an academic business. It's not an academic system. It is a political response to people's demand. This is how they reflected in their works. So there is a book written by Krishna Swami in a book called The Story of English in India traverses through the journey of English language and its multi-dimensions in India. Growth and development of English in India with a view to redefining the aims and goals of teaching in post-independent India in English and the various phases of development and spread of English in India reflects how English language has been seen as an inevitable part of Indians, not a language of the masses. This is not though the language of the masses. So these phases include the use of English as an instrument for commerce and transportation, growth of this in education, the dissemination phase of English, gaining the status of second language, the identity phase, all these are things there, and the conflict between the emotion, Angrezi Hatao. This is how the sphere was formed. I mean, the remove English. This brigade called Angrezi Hatao Brigade and the Rational English for Development Group and the globalization period of 1990s. Okay. Another book, English Next India, The book is called English Next India. I just forgot the name of the writer. This book brings out how a country with its liberalized economy addresses the demand for English language education and English as a medium of learning. So the huge demand, real or overstated, could not be catered to with its diverse system or diverse implications, or you can call diverse context and categories in terms of resources for schooling and school systems. Okay. So now the question is how English language education needs to be planned for complementing and supplementing with Indian languages in a multilingual country and meeting the social demand for upward mobility is seen as a major challenge given the diversity in curriculum planning and schooling. Okay. So the topology of schooling and the quality of English language teaching could be seen from the determinants of English language environment in schools, as well as the English language teacher and his or her proficiency and pedagogical process of the classroom. This is how the authors, as mentioned in the book of the NCERT and their manuscripts. So this creates or form the hierarchies in the way the schools deliver English language education or support English language education. So if I trace the class perspective, the schools are of three types. Okay, A, B, and C in terms of locations and resources, which determine the quality of the English language teaching and learning. See, the type A school are located in big cities and are attended by upper middle class children. Clear? regional identity with the regional language and national identity with Hindi, English is considered to be the language essential for knowledge, science advancement, and progress or development. So we can say that vernacular languages or vernacular in India as much as a site for the production of power and privilege as English. So the nationalist characterization of the vernacular is as problematic as the democratic other of English in the context of caste and class and the complexity of both the vernacular and English in cultivating elitism in India. So learners at the secondary stage express the preferences to English as a language and as a medium for instrumental reasons, whereas the impact of English as an international language is felt or perceived in the day-to-day use of English in academic and social ambience or settings. So the introduction of English as a language though led to the school systems in the states, is felt to be posing threat to the tribal, minor and minority languages. This is how the research was done, and this is not my idea. These ideas are all of the researchers and the writers. I have just summarized the idea and taken it to my mind, especially by Mohanty. There is an author called Mohanty. He has written in such a way. So learning through one's language as a linguistic right and harmonious language learning has been stressed for second pedagogical practices. The implications of introduction of English without facilities are felt on the acquisition of the languages. However, the preference to the language could not be made to wait till a qualitatively sound practice is introduced. So, while taking stock of the present situation or scenario of English language teaching in the country, we can see that, or we have found the problems and constraints which the English language teaching learning faces in terms of curriculum design, materials development, the English language teacher and the hegemonic role of English over Indian languages. Okay. Nowadays, Hindi has taken the hegemonic role. National Curriculum Framework, NCF, in the year 2005, makes a case for ensuring resources for teaching learning of English as a language during the formative years to provide for quality language learning. Language remains a serious academic, pedagogic, and policy concern in school education. If I take the school education, and the movement of English language from third language to common second language, from third language to common second language within the nationality accepted language in education policy or strategy of the three-language formula is revealed in the language policy implementation studies as studied by several researchers, especially by Annamalai. And the role that English language attained or procured or gained as an instrument for upward mobility and the language of choice in education is evidenced not only as a part of globalization, but also part of the decolonization, where English makes its way to be an Indian language, as it is proposed by the same speaker, Annamalai, or the writer, you can say, as well as Mohanty also speak in such a way. And Mohanty described that how mixed medium within a school and within a classroom works. English is used to teach prestigious subjects like mathematics and science, what do we say? Whereas Hindi or other languages are used to teach less prestigious, quote unquote, less prestigious subjects like history and social sciences. So Hindi used to be the second language subject in most of the non-Hindi states in India. Now it has been replaced by English, this stature, and it is relegated to the position of a third language subject in most non-Hindi speaking states. Clear? I hope I am clear to you. Now I will move to the next position. I mean, mother tongue based multilingualism and the English language. Okay, see. Sorry. Mother tongue based multilingualism projects, these projects were earlier initiated by the state governments in India, and it was a result of global advocacy as proposed by or advocated by UNESCO. And there is a growing demand for protecting indigenous languages in an effort to bring in mother tongue of learners belonging to tribal and minor communities, so that yes, my comment is only to uphold or ensure mother tongue based medium of learning. So two such projects in India, one in the state of Andhra Pradesh, and another in Odisha. Now the fruits showing the effect of their mother tongue, uses of mother tongue, based in the learning in such a situation where children begin their learning in their mother tongue before they move to the state language, or they learn both the state and the mother tongue concurrently. Clear? So if the minority language is available as a provision to study, the schools are less resourced to teach the languages in terms of availability of teachers and materials, which includes the text. Introduction of English language without adequate resources, particularly English language teachers, throws much greater challenges when it comes to the quality of education. And the researcher poses a pertinent, these researchers also pose some questions like, some of them like in such a way, how can learners in the lower primary school develop useful and meaningful English language knowledge and skill without impairing their mother tongue development at the same time? Okay. English language in education, in education policy, informs the contesting orientations in the spread and demand for English language education that has shaped the role and place of the language. So the two dimensions, one that it is the language of upward mobility and the language of empowerment, and other that language plays a detrimental role in placing Indian languages, particularly or especially the tribal and minor languages, as a disadvantageous position, have been taught out by researchers, especially these peoples, and during the decade of this with several evidences. Okay, so now I will tell you about the English language curriculum. Yes, sorry. Research on second language curriculum throws light on the process and outcomes of curriculum development and implementations also on the same. See, studies have conducted on curriculum, curriculum making, as a professional educational exercise to find evidences on how curriculum statements and processes of curriculum making assume and result in learning outcomes in the classroom and in high-stake examinations. Okay. So, if I say that the position of materials in English language teaching, then it would be a great thing. See, materials developed as a follow-up to the National Curriculum Framework 2005 that stresses the importance of the linguistic as well as socio-cultural context of learners as inputs, recognizing the learner as a constructor of knowledge. This understanding provides a scope for authenticity to the task. And curriculum with material development poses in the diverse Indian situations demand a much deeper understanding in developing expertise in materials development for the diversity within diversity. Okay. Here the two major skills and effect of these materials have shown result on the two major skills like listening and speaking, which the textbook tends to ignore for reasons that are not known. So the most important skills are that was earlier ignored. They are listening and speaking. So there are, however, studies or research which show that textbooks develop with a sound understanding of pedagogy, and the context of the learning can become an effective tool for the language learning. So the English language learning programs should consider social setting and prepare learners to deal with varied situations with successful communications. Materials such as newspaper clippings, magazines, articles, and audio visuals should be used in the classroom. As well as home culture can be used as a yardstick to which learners develop an informal understanding of the target culture. I mean English or the target language. Now, if I say that it would be enjoyable if we use the multifaceted learning in terms of it should be experimented. There should be experiment with genre, play with the notion of a text. It should be encouraged to student with their student initiated learning, text based exercise, and the grammar based activities that should instill interest and should not be given precedence over other activities, with some preaching values, morals, and social awareness. Now I will tell you about the methods of teaching English and the English language classroom. See, there is a method called task-based language teaching, TBLT, task-based language teaching. These approaches and how this method approaches how the methods are realized in the classroom and classroom research. Suppose English for engineer courses and ELT at the undergraduate level, employing experimental designs to establish effectiveness of one particular method or approach in language teaching in terms of syllabus, materials, and tasks used in the classroom. And these are studied only to show that methods could be localized. Methods could be localized and contextualized that suit to that of the learner, only to provide the particular exposure and to engagement with language. Okay, so language use and learner interaction in the classroom, learner interaction in the classroom are found to be a precursor of and essential important thing for the language development in the learner. Most of the studies, especially in most of the studies, it was found that schooling and exposure were the two most important factors that determine the quality of performance, especially only to show that if children receive adequate exposure to the target language, their competence and performance does not differ from the so-called native speaker in any significant way. So the gap between teachers' use of strategy for ELT and students' preferences for the communicative approach as the strategy for language learning, so they are totally different. Clear? Now see. Sorry. Based on the proposition that linguistic competence is directly proportionate to strategic competence, and the learners need to have a synchronous acquisition of the three components, that is form, content, and use. Form, content, and use. Researchers like Reddy and Santha, they found that metacognitive strategies, I mean orientation, planning, monitoring, texting, repairing, and evaluating, are helpful in overcoming the language learning difficulties. The study of defined language learning difficulties as obstacles for normal language, it is developed as the, for example, For example, if we say that the effect of lack of understanding in the use of phenomenological, morphological, and syntactical rules, difficulties in conceptualization of ideas and formulation, and the lack of communicative function. These things lead to language learning difficulties or make it difficult. Similarly, the study of effectiveness of the syncretic mood, I mean that is problem solving, syncretic mood of teaching on the development of English language creatively established a significant and positive correlation between achievement motivation and creativity performance. Clear? Now see. And these things also come between the dimensions of creativity. I mean the poetic diction, story construction, descriptive style, and the vocabulary use for the students. Now, the effectiveness of the task-based language teaching, TBLT. What are the effectiveness of this TBLT? The task-based language teaching has shown an impact on curriculum, syllabus, and materials development over last 2 decades. Research has been conducted to establish the effect of TBLT as a method or strategy in the varied Indian context. And it can be used for developing implicit knowledge, which develops incidentally as a result of the effort to communicate. Fluency in the second language can be gained when learners attempt to use the second language in real operating conditions, leading to automation. I mean, group and collaborative work promote high amount of language practice, which in turn increases motivation and negotiation for meaning. And the effectiveness of task-based language teaching in improving listening skills of the learners at the secondary stages, I mean the classes of 9 and 10. This study found the gender differences also. And the male students first learn grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, syllabification, stress, and meaning, while order for female students, order for female students was pronunciation, stress, syllabification, vocabulary, and meaning. These are the order. So male students order are the grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, syllabification, stress, and meaning. While for the female students, the research was found that pronunciation comes first, stress comes second, syllabification comes third, vocabulary, and then meaning. So the study notably could not find any difference between rural and urban learners. So TBLT has immense potential to enhance communicative competence of English language learners. Clear? So the task-based language teaching, TBLT, in a way, a dominant and current method of language teaching in the ELT scene, or the present ELT scene, or the ELT scene today. So most studies employ experimental design to find the effectiveness of the TBLT over the traditional methods or strategies of teaching of English, But TBLT, as the findings go, promotes learner autonomy, learner-learner interaction, leading to language processing effectively when the tasks are designed with sound pedagogical understanding. Clear? Now I will tell you about the general English language course. See, demand for English as a skill. Demand for English as a skill in the job market and as an academic skill for higher education is increasing day by day. There is a clear demand for English language proficiency and English as a life skill for upward mobility. Investigation on comprehension and communication skills in English in the context of undergraduate classes found that the courses are more theoretical in nature and are characterized by a lack of workshops, discussions, paper readings, and such creative activities. Emphasis on rote learning. And there is a great emphasis on rote learning. ROTE, rote learning. And lack of opportunities for developing speaking skills. So, the importance of the speaking skills is most important. Clear? Interestingly, much of the English learned was not through formal instruction, but out of the class experience. So teachers underscored the need for developing communication skills and were defensive of expressing any opinion about their students. Clear? There is a growing need to incorporate technical communication, interpersonal skills, and general English language proficiency elements in the course for engineers as well. And we can see that communicative language teaching, CLT, as a tool for enhancing English language proficiency of the first year engineering students of colleges in the several parts of the country, where the teachers can work as an intercultural competence, work on the intercultural competence and the critical thinking, so that the development of the context, sensitive context and the methodology can be understood in such a way. Now I will tell you about the researching, literacy, reading, writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, and grammar skills. See, the last decade, I'm just going to conclude my lecture by taking more than 5 minutes. Not more than 5 minutes. The last decade witnessed a number of research studies on various aspects of language learning in terms of skills. Reading instruction, reading pedagogy during the formative years. Then comes the focus of teaching learning English, writing employment, writing employing process-based approaches, etc. All these are there. But one common thread which runs all through the themes of English language education and research analyze that knowledge and understanding of language pedagogy and its use in the varied Indian context, like reading, writing, listening, speaking, vocabulary, grammar, all things bring out that the lack of pedagogical understanding in the curriculum. Okay, now teaching young learners appears to be an area of interest to researchers these days. And studies on teaching English to young learners inform pedagogues and curriculum planners of the need for further diversification and flexibility in the curriculum design, especially on the listening skills. Clear? So, researchers or the research needs to be an instrument for societal and national development. And they, researchers reported here, researchers reported here prove that time spent in using the language by the learner, I mean the learner-learner interaction, teacher-learner interaction, authentic materials, task along with other variables, all these things, strategies, promote the above mentioned ingredients what I have told or discussed up till now. Now I want to conclude my discussion by giving one example. See, I saw a Hindi movie, Hichki. आपने हिचकी देखे हैं क्या? हिचकी सिनेमा, हिंदी सिनेमा.
Yes, sir.
So I watched the movie Hichki yesterday regarding this talk. So the script is predictable, but it still moved me. Without getting into the filmmaking aspects, I want to discuss the movie from an educator's perspective. It is about a teacher having a speech disability who struggles to get a teaching position, but is finally recruited by an elite private school. However, she has to teach the students from the slum area who are there because of the section 12 of the Constitution, India's right to education. They are all in section F category. And the movie plays off on the social divisions that exist in our society between rich and the poor. Clear? So, Hichki reminds me that, and reminds us also about our belief in the transformative potential. Good education is not a private benefit. It is a public good that can drive societal transformation towards the ideal goals like empathy, equality, and fraternity that a society envisages for itself. While we see our society far removed from those ideals, Hichki has the power to reaffirm that those ideal goals are worth fighting for. Clear? And at the heart of that fight is a teacher. The teacher is the embodiment of all our constitutional goals. Okay, so the movie does not provide us a glimpse into what competent teaching looks like. Good teaching is contextualized, relevant, enjoyable. When Rani Mukherjee goes into the slums to talk to parents, she is getting invaluable insights about the lives of her students, building parental investments, and the thinking about ways to make the curriculum relevant for her students according to their needs. So this is how I think I think you have understand my point of view, and thank you once again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We hope all participants will be benefited by your inspiring speech. Sir, we know that in the present time, the teaching work is becoming difficult and stressful. Teachers need to be physically, mentally, and intellectually mature to maintain their skills even in the present situation. By participating in the such program, there will be proper development of teachers and the proper coordination will be established in the teaching learning program. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now, interactive session is starting. I request to all participants and audiences that they can ask their question to our resource person.
Reading or grammar?
Yes. Grammar translation method is an old one. And nowadays, people are trying to base their studies or the reflections on the, what I have told you, TBLT method. So in this way, the students can be connected with their vernacular ideas as well as giving importance to the potential. They try to enhance communicative and competence of English language learners, towards the target language. But you can apply all these things, in my opinion. The grammar translation method is an old one. But nowadays, there is no need to apply these methods because these are clearly backdated in terms of the flexibility and the judicious use of L1, language 1, and the strategies. So I think TBLT is a best thing to communicate with students.
Sir, do you think that age factor affects acquisition of second language?
No, I don't think so. Because, madam, have you seen that in the very primary stage, the students of nursery nowadays, please look into the books of them. Then you will find how many English language texts or the nurseries or the question and answer, these theoretical methods are given for them only to have some rote learning, so that this rote learning later on will be developed into a consolidated global language. So I don't think there will be a barrier of age, the age barrier. Okay, so understanding English when someone speaks is at a normal conversational speed is the most important from the very beginning of the nursery. So nowadays this concept has gone a sea change.
No,
I hope. Yeah.
Actually, when we want to speak, want to teach mature learners of 20 or 22 years, even when they come for MA English, they want to make their English strong. That's why they take admission in our state. So about that, the problem is their speech organs are so trained that they can't pronounce properly. Secondly, some fear, you can say, they have been suggested that the English is very terrifying and foreign language and second language and all. So how to overcome that, those hurdles?
Yes, I think this is the most important question, madam, you have asked. The most important things for our students in these days, first of all, they have to develop the quality or the practice or cultivate the practice called listening. पहले सुनना पड़ेगा, क्या बोला जा रहा है BBC पे, क्या बोला जा रहा है NDTV. You have to develop the skills or the culture of listening. As much you listen, much you learn. पहले सुनना पड़ेगा, पढ़ना पड़ेगा, लिखना पड़ेगा, उसके बाद बोलना पड़ेगा. And you have to break the barriers by speaking broken English. Encourage them to speak broken English as well, so that they should not be ashamed of any kind of broken languages they are speaking in the class. Rather than you should urge them to speak English in their own way and invite them for their group chat or group participation regarding a debate or on any issues. And forget the grammatical correct sentences. Suppose when a student or a baby or a child speaks at the very beginning of their life, they don't speak in grammar, they speak in broken languages. So treat them in such a way so that this broken language form a sound and appropriate one later on, by avoiding the incorrect spelling and the not so proper pronunciation and etc. and etc.
Exactly, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Myself, R.K. Srivastava.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. As you know, the language algebra is the algebra is any language of any language, So I want to know, can you do something? Because you know that people rather scared to learn any language with the grammar. Grammar reading is very difficult for people.
Yes.
So can you make some effort to impart training on this particular?
Yes, sir. Sir, the most important thing is you have asked a pertinent question, sir. Thank you for this. Actually, there is a lack of exposure for these students. They don't have the proper exposure.
I see.
Yes, most of the Indian students are exposed to their mother tongues, and they do not get adequate opportunities either to listen or to speak in English language. So because of their poor social and economic background, they neither get enough exposure to English, to speak English outside the classroom. And other factors are lack of motivation, defective methods. Defective methods mean the oral work, which is the soul of any method, is totally neglected. Writing, which is an advanced skill to be learned, is taught right from the very beginning. So students are not given exposure to the use of language. Okay. Whatever language is taught by the rules and learned by the rote memory. This is the problematic area. And another important thing is that lack of the expert teacher. Expertise is the most important thing, that you can understand or grab something in a minute. So these are the things that will disturb the process or break the process of learning or jostle them, only to choke the ideas of the students or learn something new.
So nice. Thank you very much. So nice of you.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. See, yeah. Actually, direct method means when we are teaching English, you should not take recourse on any kind of languages. If there is problem, then you should take the recourse to your mother tongue. Otherwise, invite them to speak broken language. What I'm saying is that direct language, as you see, what the hypothesis these days taken by the Indira Gandhi National Open University, I mean IGNOU, that the uses of the latest technology beside the world-class materials. I mean, they invite the increasing awareness of the least two languages, of the appropriate and effective use of words, and the dynamic equivalence and the formal equivalence of the two dissimilar translations, and the importance of motivations, experiments on these things, especially on the direct method or the SBLT, what I have discussed already. So these things I think would be better if you take direct method and TBLT in Indian context. These methods will help the students, I think, in developing the metacognitive strategies.
Sir, most of the teachers here are teaching English in Hindi in undergraduate classes. That's the problem. Grammar translation method, pure, which is meant for just beginners.
Yeah. The problem is not with the teacher, because the teachers are well equipped. I respect the teachers and teachers are well equipped. But the problem is with the basic criteria of our societies. I mean the yardstick, what I am measuring. We don't prioritize English or the target language in such a way that we should recourse to them. Rather, we prioritize Hindi or any other language in our own. That's the thing. We should not blame teachers, because teachers are habituated.
No, I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming. We have to teach because that is what we are expected.
Yeah. Sorry.
Particularly in interior regions.
Yeah. That's very true, madam. That's very true. Yeah, obviously, because see, fluency in a second language can be gained when learners attempt to use the second language in real operating conditions, and that will lead to automation. Clear? So group and collaborative work, and what you say, this process will promote high amount of languages and increase the motivation as a negotiation for me. I mean, this process with the TBLT, both of them have immense potential to enhance the communicative competence of English language learner, and with the flexibility of time. Yeah. So if rote learning is the problem, then when there is something in the process or in the work, then you have to break it by not deconstructing all the things suddenly, but you have to promote them in a flexible manner, in such a way that teaching English and their findings promote autonomy and learner-centered interaction. Promote them, invite them, approach them to learn among themselves in the target language. Day by day, they will advance in their approach. This will be done in a not in a single day, but it will be accessed or advocated or increased day by day in the only to gain the upward mobility or have some good comprehension on the communication skills in English. Yeah. See, methods are made for us, and no one is bound to use any single method. Methods should be used according to the priority of the students or the period of the time. I mean, the region of the nation and other academic places. So, what suited most to the teacher is the permanent answer to this question. And if you are teaching English for engineering students, then you should spread the professional education, particularly with improvement of specific purpose. Whenever you are teaching English for your own honor students, then you have to speak in such a way that you should go beyond the clerical English and achieve a certain standard. These are nothing but the direct method, TBLT, as well as the communicative process should be used. Yeah, go ahead. Yes, so when you live in an atmosphere, you are surrounded by Hindi speakers, you are non-native speakers, then automatically stumble over such language. But you have to build up the atmosphere of the English, reading newspaper, listening to the new TV news channels, as well as the interactive sessions in the classroom, as well as not to review the students in the class. Rather, they should be improvised by the encouraging words. I think this will help.
Sir, unmute yourself, sir.
धन्यवाद सर। इसके पश्चात मैं कार्यक्रम संयोजक एवं आयोजन सचिव डॉक्टर राजीव तिवारी सर से निवेदन करता हूं कि वे आज के रिसोर्स पर्सन मिस्टर एस.के. सागर अली महोदय को महाविद्यालय की ओर से प्रशस्ति पत्र प्रदान करें।
Thank you, sir, for a very informative lecture that you have delivered. And one thing you must have noticed that the entire program was conducted by a professor who is head of the department of Vyakaranam, which is pure Sanskrit in its classical form. And our another assistant professor, Kadanji Sharma, who has introduced you and who is going to express the vote of thanks at the end. He is also a learned professor of Sanskrit in our department, in our college rather. So what you were saying that my sincere effort is to promote all these Sanskrit scholars to speak English in such a national level platform. Another thing is, sir, that in our college, it's a pure Sanskrit college where English literature is one of the optional subjects. And here, the medium of instruction for English literature, that is, I take the classes, it is 100% in English medium. And I'm very happy to state here that our students who offer English literature secure a position in the merit list of the university. So that way, though it's a Sanskrit college, we are doing our best to promote English so that our Sanskrit scholars may reach the international level. And another lecture will be there on translation also. If the translation is, the Sanskrit texts are translated into English, that will give them another international program. We have a mixture of some 5 or 6 still professors who have recently joined some 5 or 6 years back. They have a bright future, and my sincere effort is to promote them, to encourage them, so that they can learn English, they can present themselves in English, they can translate texts of Sanskrit in English, and thus they can attain great height in the international level. Thank you so much, sir. And a formal vote of thanks will be expressed by Dr. Kadambari Sharma. And just listen her, sir. He is a professor, assistant professor of Sanskrit. He is not a member of English department. He is an assistant professor in Sanskrit department.
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
So now I request Nurul Huda to please present the certificate so that it can be handed over to sir. Sir, most humbly, I present this certificate to you. Great, sir, and the college on behalf of our principal and on behalf
Thank you very much.
on behalf of IQAC, on behalf of English department, certificate is presented to you. Just a token, sir. Thanks so much.
Welcome.
Unfortunately, our principal madam is busy in some other assignment, and so I accept this certificate of appreciation, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Then I invited to Dr. Kadambari Sharma for vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Actually, overcoming the English language barrier in education is very relevant in the context of both subject study and teaching. So your lecture was very informative, sir. Being an academic, discussing this topic also shows your love for language. We are all grateful. We hope to hear your useful lecture again next time. Thanks again, sir. My special thanks to you, Mr. B.K.S. Ray, sir. You are the literary heritage of Chhattisgarh. Your passion for literature inspires people. We all keep getting the opportunity to listen to you, sir. Thank you, sir. I also thank respected Dr. Radha Pandey, madam, in the role of the head of the institution. We are all learning under your guidance, madam. Your love for literature made this program possible. And finally, I would like to thank all the participants from the bottom of my heart. You all remain curious about literature. In fact, the discussion on the subject of literature is a literary creation in itself. Once again, thanks to all. In tomorrow's session, the participation of all of you will remain the same. With the same hope, good day to all. Thank you.
थैंक यू सभी का आभार। आशा है कल इसी समय पुनः 2:30 बजे सब मिलेंगे। जिस आस के साथ, जिस आशा के साथ, जिस उत्साह के साथ सब पुनः आशा कर महाविद्यालय आशा करता है इस समय के साथ मिलेंगे, तब फिर मिलेंगे कल। धन्यवाद।
जी सर, आप सभी को बधाई, कादम्बरी शर्मा जी को भी बधाई। और सब बढ़िया किया and we really enjoyed.
Okay, so with the help of tomorrow, we are now here handling the program. Now do fill the feedback link because it's necessary for your certificate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hmm.